Wait, I can talk now? I can talk right now? Okay. So, after the 1910s, we're going to talk about the most positive, the latest, the exciting, the magnificent, roaring 1920s. Let's continue our journey through the history of men's fashion in the 20th century. After the 1910s, let's explore the roaring 1920s. Were a decade of prosperity and economical growth, where there was a mood of optimism and carefree living during this period. It was between the aftermath of the World War I and the start of the Great Depression in 1929. The US became a global economic power thanks to their industry that is based on mass production and technological developments like widespread use of electricity, cars, telephones, radio, the invention of moving pictures, is also referred as the Jazz Age because jazz became the most popular music genre at the time. So many musicians rose during this period, like Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Joe King Oliver, Bing Crosby, Jelly Roll Morton, and more. Charles Lindbergh made his first solo non-stop transatlantic flight from New York to Paris in 1927. Art Deco became the main architectural and design movement of the 1920s that started first in Europe and spread across Western Europe and US in the mid 1920s. The Chrysler Building, the tallest building at the time, was started to be built in 1929 in New York City. The Harlem Renaissance started to flourish, that is about the African American art and culture becoming popular, that has its center in New York City. It marked the start of the Prohibition era, the rise of nightclubs, the rise of talkies at the end of the decade. And there is also a rise in consumerism, so people had more money to also spend on fashion, so the style at the time reflected that. The suit is the main staple of men's fashion in the 1920s, and we can divide the decade in two different periods style wise. In the early years of the 1920s, it was dominated from the suits that were more fitted and slimmer. The suits were very high waisted, often worn with belts, with lapels that weren't wide. They tended to be buttoned up high, and this style of suits was influenced from the uniform worn in the military during World War I. Trousers that were fitted and straight, cuffed at the bottom, and socks showing most of the times. Most suits were made with heavier materials like thick wool, wool tweed, mohair, wool flannel, and corduroy. Suits were buttoned up all the way up and featured two sets of flap pockets. They were usually single or double breasted, three or four button jackets with notch lapels. The main colors for suits didn't change a lot from the previous decade, that are brown, blue, dark green, and gray, and are darker shades that were used in the cold season, while softer tones like ivory, pastel blue, mustard yellow, and olive green were used during the warm season. Also, there is the occasional pastel pink, so these 1920s fellas could really rock colors at the time. Common suit patterns were plaid, checks, window pane, stripes, and tweed. A fact that I didn't know before researching for this video is that black wasn't used as the main color for suits. Actually, it was used only for funerals. So the typical gangster look that you think about is more linked to the 1940s and 1950s old Hollywood image. Gangsters at the time they would usually wear their most fashionable suits to show off their wealth. The second period for suits in the 1920s started in the mid 1920s, where suits became more loose fitting and boxy. The labels became wider, and Oxford bags, that were wide trousers that are used especially from the members of the University of Oxford, became popular. Also, double breasted vests became fashionable, worn with a single breasted jacket. More colors became available, like pink, lilac, blue gray, and gray green. Suits during the summertime were commonly white, and some Ivy League members enjoyed the striped boating jacket with the colors of the college or club that were in. While for evening wear, tuxedos were worn and they were used for events like dinners, opera, and more. Worn with a top hat, black patent shoes, a white vest or bow tie, or in the black option. The morning suit was still used for weddings. The button-down shirt were pastel with vertical stripes or white with a detaching collar that could be easily cleaned. Some more fashionable men would add a pin to the collar, and during summertime, men would roll up their sleeves on hot days. Now, let me tell you, the Prince of Wales, Edward VIII, was the most fashionable influencer at the time, guys. Like, believe me, every outfit of his in the 1920s was a killer. He had drip, he had the sauce, he had the style, he had the clothing. Like, every man in the 1920s followed his style. He liked to break rules, he was bold, he wasn't afraid of showing off. Like, we have to take a page from the book of Edward VIII, guys. Also started the trend of the 2-inch fold up cuff that everyone followed. Trousers were narrow at the start of the decade and became wider in the later part of the decade. Oxford bags in colleges were the extreme bagginess. Imagine like they were the Jinko of the 1920s. You know, the baggy Jinko jeans from the 90s. The most iconic ad at the time, and I repeat, the most iconic ad was the fedora. But other ads also followed in the line, like the Hamburg, Derby, Newsboy, Boater, Top Hat, and the flat cap. So some 1920s shoes could be wingtips, two-tone shoes, cap-toe shoes, lace-up boots, and there is also the rise of casual sports shoes like high-top sneakers like Converse and low-top sneakers like Cad and plimsolls. Socks were plain, striped, or argyle, and neckties had diagonal stripes, plaid, check, paisley, or they were Art Deco inspired. They were high waisted with the waistband at the natural waistline, worn with suspenders or a leather belt. This last option wasn't worn with suits or a vest. Dark denim trousers were worn for work duty and then in overalls too. The three-piece suit was still the king, guys, and the vest could also be a sweater vest during casual activities. Knitwear became more common after World War I, and more colors and patterns were available for sweaters. Long wool coats dominated the era, light trench coats during rainy days, and shorter jackets for work, usually. Felt hats were worn during the cold season, while straw hats were worn during the warm season. Glasses became fashionable with a card that fall by the side, and they are called pince nez. They are made of metal and they can be attached to the suit. The cane or walking stick is still an essential accessory for most gentlemen out there. The pocket watch on a chain is found in the vest pocket, and sundaes were round metal framed or tortoise shell. You say tortoise, blastoise? No, wait, no, not blastoise. Tortoise shell. And lastly, with the rise of sportswear, with sports like tennis and golf, knickerbockers came into the play that were trousers that are knee length and are worn with eye socks, leather shoes, and a sweater and a button down shirt. So, after we explore the history, the society, the culture, and the men's fashion at that time in the roaring 1920s, I'm going to show you my three inspired outfits from the 1920s. As always, as a disclaimer, I'm not a fashion historian. I don't have the entire encyclopedia in my wardrobe. I tried with what I had in my wardrobe, and also I had to get some stuff from my dad's wardrobe as usual because my wardrobe is big, but it's not that big. So yeah, this could be also an helpful guide if you are invited to a 1920s party or a Great Gatsby themed party because, oh Lord, please forgive me. I don't want to see any more of those shameful 1920s cheap outfits from Amazon or from other like sketchy sites because those are not accurate, they are cheap as hell, and the quality is so bad. You will use them only once and then forget it because they're not good at all, my guy. They're not good at all. Just use already the wardrobe that you already have, or go to the thrift of the flower market for a suit, some hats, like something that is most accurate to the 1920s theme and the Great Gatsby theme. If you have one of those type of parties, and actually, I will recommend the video from the Vintagebursche because he has a great video about this topic, and also he's an expert in this field, like in the 1910s and 1920s men's fashion. He is the expert, so I will leave it like up here or down below. And also his channel overall is really good, guys. You should check it out. I saw Great Gatsby. I think I saw it like 3 years ago, probably, or 4 years ago, if I remember correctly, on TV. And actually, it was pretty good. Maybe I should also do a analysis on the costumes of the movie because I really like them. But yeah, I could do this kind of videos. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, other than that, I will show you my three inspired outfits from the 1920s. So for this first look, I was inspired from the golfers' outfits from the 1920s, and actually didn't have a pair of knickerbockers, so you have to DIY them. And the magic trick is to have a pair of suit trousers with a pair of ice socks and tuck these trousers into the ice socks and make them look like knickerbockers. It worked perfectly, guys, like 10 out of 10. I'm wearing my Nazareno Gabrielli cardigan with my thrifted tie, my button-down shirt with my OVS flat cap, with my socks that are thrifted, and my leather shoes that I took from my dad's collection. And PS, I don't have a golf bat and also don't have a tennis racket, so I had to use what I had at home. So that was my look, a golfer that wanted to go to play tennis. For this second look, I was inspired from the day wear of the 1920s, so I'm wearing the fedora hat that was very popular during this period, and I'm wearing my wool blazer, my thrifted wool blazer with my sweat vest, my thrifted red tie with my button-down shirt, my fedora hat from H&M, my suit trousers that I took from my dad's wardrobe because they didn't fit them anymore, and also I'm wearing some boots I took also from my father's wardrobe, and the walking stick to finish the look because, as you know, even for the 1920s, the walking stick was essential, guys, essential. So for this last look, I was inspired from the late 1920s attire with the more boxy and loose fitting suits. So I'm wearing my flat cap from OVS with my thrifted auxiliary suit, my thrifted brown tie, a sweat vest, a button-down shirt, the trousers that I got also from the previous look, and my derby leather shoes from my dad. And I was focused more on the earthy tones and the browns, and this is the last look for today. Hope you enjoyed it. So guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, hit notification bell so you will know when I put my next video. The next episode of History of Men's Fashion will come out next month in May. And yes, the heat is coming, guys. Like, I can't handle it. And I hope the days I will film is not going to be too hot because I'm always with suits and jackets and they are heavy as hell. So please, someone out there, I hope it's not too hot to film. But yeah, the next episode will come around made 1930s, and then it will be the 1940s and 50s and 60s that will come out this summer. So get ready for that. And yes, other than that, I have other videos that are coming. Thrift Thought is coming soon. I have another episode of Old Hollywood Stars Style that is coming next week. And then I have also the spring trends and like inspired lookbook in the works. I have lots of content that's coming, and hope you enjoy it. And I will see y'all on the next video, my fellas. See ya. So now we talk. So now we talked about the check it out, and yes, that's not because we want to dress to impress, especially at the party. You have to be the best dressed man out there in the crowd, and you must dress accurately at the time. And actually, I don't want to see anymore those cheap costumes from Amazon. I don't want to see them again. You understand me? I don't want to see them again.